there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of For All the Lonely Souls. If you've been listening since episode 1, thank you so much for being here, supporting this podcast, helping benefit your life, and allowing me to connect and share a little bit of mine with you. I'm really excited about the next couple of months and how this is going to pan out on my end. I just started writing a book this week. Not really sure the title or the style of how it's going to be delivered, but I definitely know that it will be relatable, supportive, and 100% honest and authentic, which is the goal of everything that I deliver to you every time. So that brings me to a very important episode to share with you. This is a topic that I'm not really sure how people are going to react, so I don't tend to talk about it a lot. I wait for people to kind of come to me to talk about it, but I'm tired of just pretending like it's not a big deal in my life, because it has completely transformed my life. And if you are also in the same boat or have curiosities about this subject, then this is the perfect podcast episode for you. This episode is all about cannabis, my exposure with cannabis, my use with cannabis, and my belief behind it. In case you're not familiar with cannabis, cannabis is literally the marijuana plant. There are many parts to the plant that can be beneficial, like hemp, which can be turned into clothes, paper, homes, and a ton of other things, which is also so much better for the environment compared to a ton of other materials that are being used right now within companies all around the world. So that's one great benefit. Another fabulous benefit is that there's fibrous seeds that you can use within your food called hemp seeds. They're really, really good for you. There's tons of omega fatty acids, which are good for your hair, your skin, your nails, and brain function. So that's another second benefit. A third benefit is that there's something called CBD, which really helps with pain relief in whatever form that someone might have. It might be internal pain, it might be knee pain, it might be from arthritis, it might be because you're going through certain health treatment programs. There's so many benefits to it, and even if you're not in pain, it helps relax your muscles over time because we sit a lot in one place. We're doing the same motion over and over, and it makes the rest of our muscles tense up over time, and it helps to just relax you. That's another benefit. And for the final benefit, in my eyes, is that it helps allow my creativity and myself to truly connect with my own being, rather than being so concerned about the world around me, what's going on, what I can't control, and losing myself within it. So I started really, really honing in on this plant with consuming it for myself and all of the areas essentially, but mostly within consumption. So for me to use for myself, whether that's smoking or eating or taking mint strips or mint spray or whatever, like there's really some cool stuff out there. So if you haven't been to a dispensary in a state where it's legalized, you should go check it out. It's literally like, some of them are like going into an Apple store, and the selections, the smells, the questions, there's information about where it was grown and if it's organic and how many terpenes are in it. And it's just really, really cool. So that's worth an experience to go. But I really started using this plant when my migraines hit the peak of pain level for me. I moved up to Ohio in 2013. Yeah, that has to be right. 2013. And the air pressure up here is so much different than Houston. Houston is pretty much below sea level, and Cleveland is definitely elevated. Not a ton, but it's elevated. So because of that, and because of the extreme seasonal changes compared to Houston, which is the only place I had ever lived in prior, my neck pressure worsened. So I had done a little bit of research, found out about it, and from people that I had known, they said, why don't you just try smoking and see if that helps? Just try, because it helps relief with pain. And that's all I knew. There wasn't a lot of people really talking about it. It's really started to boom a lot more now of acceptance of people talking about it, but I didn't really know. So I did a little bit of research, found out for the pain relief, and just gave it a try. And I remember the first time I was very in my head and negative, thinking this isn't going to work, isn't going to work. And then it didn't work. So when it happened again, I thought, okay, this is going to work. This has to work. This has to work because I've tried everything that I have right now, and let's just see if this works. It's going to work. And it worked. So then I kept doing it, believing it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work. And it worked. But it only helped relieve the pain. It didn't stop the pain from occurring in the first place. So then that led me into another cycle of handling my migraines in a different path, where I went to the chiropractor, which is another episode that I will share with you at a later time. So over the next couple of years, I realized that, wow, I really do feel better. I feel happier. I want to use this like when I get off work on Friday, because I think that it will help lead me into a fabulous weekend where I can really enjoy doing other things besides teaching. And then it became also Thursday nights and Wednesday nights and Tuesday nights and Monday nights and Sunday nights and Saturday nights. And it became something of, wow, this plant really makes me enjoy my life more. It makes me happier. It makes me more relaxed. It makes me just kind of zone out of what I've been trying to do or think I wanted to do, and just think of, oh, maybe I like this. Maybe I like this. Maybe I want to try this. Let's talk about this. I started getting back into art, which I never did art in school, but when I was younger, my mom, she'd come to the elementary school since we didn't have an art program, and she did some really, really cool things with us. So I'll never forget that. But I remember doing art then, and I really enjoyed it. So that then led me into the whole paper flower thing of making paper flowers for my wedding. And then it turned into the Instagram community called Cali Poppies, which is now something that I just do on the side as enjoyment and relaxation for me and my creativity. And then I started to use it when I was writing and when I was reading and when I was having conversations with people. And I realized for myself that there's something within all of that. There's something with this plant that is allowing me to just trust myself that I wouldn't normally do. Normally, I wouldn't go up to people and say, hi, my name's Erica. Hi, it's really good to see you. I'm so glad that I came here tonight or got the opportunity to hang here, or I'm so excited to finally meet you, or whatever it might be. I never did that. I hated going to events. I hated talking to people. It's allowed me to just chill the fuck out about everything, like literally about everything. When I feel myself getting so incredibly overwhelmed about a situation, that's when I realize, okay, I'm really not being present about what's going on. I'm freaking out about something that could potentially happen that I have absolutely no control over. So chill out and just let it happen. And it's taught me that I don't necessarily need that plant anymore to utilize that ability, but it's allowed me to use this plant to utilize a lot of abilities that I wouldn't have otherwise learned how to do appropriately. I'm a very internal person. I learn from watching other people, but I've learned that a lot of people have no idea what's going on in their life. And that's not to judge anybody, but that's for me as a protection of stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and look inward at yourself, at all the stuff that you know isn't making you happy anymore. Why are you living your life based on other people's terms of what you should be doing or how you should be acting or what you should be wearing, how you should be saying things, what you should look like, when it's okay to say certain things and not? It's just exhausting. You can't make everybody happy. You can't. And I know topics like this aren't for everybody, but that's fine. I'm not trying to make everybody happy. I'm trying to look at myself and think, okay, well, what has been really hard for me? How can I grow in that area? And how can I show other people that you have the ability to change anything in your life, especially with yourself? Looking inward at yourself first, everything that really is not fueling you, no matter what it is, no matter what. You're not getting enough sleep. You're not giving yourself enough you time. You're not available at home for your family as often as you really believe that you should be. Whatever it could be. It's definitely opened up my mind. Absolutely. Almost like I'm never going back to thinking the way that I did before. And there are times throughout this whole process of me growing and becoming a better person where old behaviors come out, and I think that's my ego kicking in, trying to save itself, when I know that my gut has my back. Oh, there's this super cool bird over here. Sorry to interrupt. So where we live, there's tons of beautiful seasonal birds that come by. And right now there's just a few remaining orange leaf trees in the back. And on one of the trees where there's crab apples during the summertime, which crab apples are seriously about the size of maybe a quarter. They're not too big. You don't eat them, but these little birds and little squirrels, for whatever reason, can eat them. And they're just chilling. They have super orange chests. Very, very pudgy. So I think these are the guy birds trying to get the lady birds over here. Or other guy birds or whatever kind of birds they want. So yeah, I think that this plant really does help me appreciate life for what it's worth. Learning to slow down. Letting go of old and accepting new. There's so many lessons within life that are literally right in front of us. Every day the sun comes up in parentheses, and it goes down. There's always a cycle. The moon comes up, the moon goes down. There's always a cycle. There's a cycle of seasons. There's a cycle of life. There's a cycle of everything. But there's also cycles within you that last a certain period because you're ready for the next best version of you. And I believe that. I never thought I would leave teaching. And I left in the middle of a year. And I swore I'd never do that. But it brought me something new. I got to take care of my health because my migraines were getting really bad. And I needed to go to the chiropractor. Life changes. I used to think the worst about this plant. I had some exposure to it when I was in high school. But there were other issues that came from seeing that exposure, as around one person in particular who smoked a lot. No judgment, because now that's totally my life. But smoked a lot and was only nice. That's it, the only time nice, when she smoked. And I came to think that it's just for people who are angry and they need to calm down. And then I realized that this person had a lot of issues that have now accumulated over time. And I didn't know any different with it. I thought that it's just the worst thing ever because if somebody like that becomes that, I can't do that. I don't want to become her. I can't do that. But now I'm really in love with this plant. I'm excited to see how it transforms the rest of our country who is not yet on board. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. There's so much money in it, and there's so much benefit for states who really, really, really need the financial support for better schools, for better roads, for better community get-together playgrounds and parks, because we can always use more parks. Being in nature is pretty amazing. There's a lot of benefit behind the scenes that people don't talk about because it's still not fully accepted as much as it could be. So if you have any other questions about this, you can always hit me up. I'm super open to talking about my experience with it, as well as, remind you that you always have to do what's best for you. If this isn't for you, it's totally cool. But just because somebody else uses it in their life does not mean that they're less or worse or dependent or needing or whatever might arise. That's not the case. People use things in their life because it fuels them. It makes them feel good. That's how I feel about this. Wishing you well for your Saturday. Sending you lots of love. Take care. Stay warm if you're in a chilly area. And I'll see you soon. See you guys later.